After watching Old School Raw and watching Mark Henry getting manhandled by Brock Lesnar, I was asking myself this question. Should Mark Henry still be considered as the world's strongest man? Now, for old school fans like myself, we know why he is called the world's strongest man. We've seen his feats of strength back in the past, back in the Attitude Era, from bending frying pans in half, tipping over cars, stopping limousines with his legs, and stuff like that. We've seen all that. And we know that he was from the Olympics. He's done tough man competitions that gives him the moniker of world's strongest man. And plus the fact that he actually broke the record of being the world's strongest man. But when I look at him today, I'll be honest with you, and I was looking at it from the eyes of a child and from the eyes of a casual fan. And there's nothing that he does that actually says that he is the world's strongest man anymore. There's nothing that he's doing right now that actually says he is the world's strongest man. The only time recently that I've seen something that makes him the world's strongest man was when he was pulling those 2 Mack trucks, which actually was very impressive. But I'm not really more concerned about what he does in the back, but more concerned with what he does in the ring. Because the way I see it, and I'm not judging him that he can't wrestle, because that's something that I don't agree with, saying, oh, he can't wrestle and stuff like that. He can perform. But I think that he's performing in a way that he is just a big guy that knows how to throw his weight around. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we see him display some strength when, like, guys like, say, the guys who's like the size of John Cena try to do a crossbody on him and he catches them. But we've seen that a lot from other big wrestlers. The fact he can lift up bigger guys too. I mean, but now lately we're seeing smaller guys who can legitimately lift up bigger guys. Of course, they had a little help. It's wrestling. But you have guys like Antonio Cesaro doing his finisher, the neutralizer, on guys like the Great Khali. And then a few months later, you see him doing giant swings on the Great Khali, on Brodus Clay, and Tensai. You've seen him doing that, and it makes you wonder, who's really the strongest in the WWE now? Now, for the record, he is considered one of the strongest men in the world. But I think that if you're going to use that as a gimmick, even though it's not a gimmick, but if you're going to use that as a marketing strategy to market Mark Henry, you need to let that guy do something in the ring that actually speaks out. He is so freaking strong. So far, we only have guys like Antonio Cesaro, Brock Lesnar, Ryback, and even John Cena that makes people think that, oh my God, he's so strong and stuff like that. But there's nothing that Mark Henry does that actually make you feel that way anymore. And if you're gonna use that moniker, then you have to actually show it in the ring. Just throwing your weight around and catching people in the air and stuff like that does not really speak strongest man in the world and stuff like that. I mean, there was a time where I was like hoping and praying for the day to see him like bench press someone like the Big Show. Like bench press him up and drop him down. But we never really got the chance to see something like that. The only time we see Big Show getting suplexed is either guys from like Brock Lesnar or even at the time Ezekiel Jackson. But we never seen Mark Henry suplexing guys like the Big Show. So how is that construed as saying that he's the world's strongest man in the eyes of a wrestling fan? Now, people who follow his career before WWE will say, yes, he is. But I'm going to give you another perfect example. Okay? I'm going to add a scooch right here so you can see this picture right here. This guy here, his name is Cipriano Abruzzi. He used to wrestle for us in RWA. He's actually retired right now. But one of his moniker, besides being called the Brooklyn Body Snatcher and stuff, that he was considered to be RWA's strongest man. And he didn't just go out there and say, I'm the honorary strongest man. He actually showed it. He actually displayed feats of strength. You know what I mean? By lifting up 400-pound guys in a fireman's carry to do his finisher known as the headshot. He actually lived to that gimmick. He actually did the gimmick. And it made people believe that he is RWE's strongest man. But right now with Mark Henry, we're not really seeing that he is the strongest man in the world, because we're not seeing them doing that in the ring anymore. We're mostly seeing that from guys from Antonio Cesaro, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Ryback. And if Ezekiel Jackson comes back, we're probably going to see that from him too. So the thing I'm going to ask is, should he repackage his gimmick? Should he be repackaged to do something else besides being called the world's strongest man? And this has come from a guy who is a fan of his work. I'm still a fan of his work. I think he's a great talent. But I think there's sometimes certain names doesn't go well to what you're doing now. Like maybe it's the timing and stuff like that. I don't know. It may have worked back in the day, but I think he should really be repackaged once again. And no, I don't think he should be Sexual Chocolate anymore, because that's over and done with. Okay? I think he should do something totally different. Like do a different nickname besides being called World's Strongest Man. Okay? That's how I feel about it. How do you guys feel? Should he do that? Should the WWE actually be pushing him to do feats of strength so that way they can live up to that gimmick? Even though it's not really a gimmick, he is actually a strongest man in the world. What do you guys think? Comment down below. So we'll go from there. Take care, guys.